our latest installment of our webinar series, lunchtime webinar series. My name is Todd Carlson. I'm the Director of Marketing. I'll be hosting today, so any questions that come up along the way, you can use the chat or question sections to type those in, and I think we'll try to answer them if they come up, or at their best, we'll wait to the end and answer questions. I'm joined today by our Regional Sales Director for Canada and industry veteran, thought leader, Gary Rosen. And he has a really interesting topic today covering some of the new product offerings from Carlson and blending those with some of our older products. And I'm really interested to see how he's putting it all together. So without anything else, I'll give it over to Gary.
Well, thanks, Todd. I appreciate that. A thought leader. I don't think anyone's ever introduced me as a thought leader. I have thoughts, but I don't. There's not a lot of people that that follow them. But I appreciate that. That's very flattering. And thanks everybody for joining today. I think this should be fun. I think this should be an interesting presentation. I'm going to probably take about a half an hour. We'll see how it goes. You know, there was an initiative earlier this year to for the regional sales folks and others to kind of reinvigorate our webinar series. We had been doing them every week for quite a few years, I think, and so I thought, well, you know, what do I want to do, and what would I like to present, and going to a lot of conferences this year, the provincial, mostly provincial ones up in Canada, and Maine and Massachusetts here in the States and stuff, and there's really been a lot of interest from folks about point clouds, mostly, largely in Canada, because of the drone situation up there is a lot more accessible. They still have a lot of rules to follow, but it's much easier for them to be able to fly drones over sites. So a lot of people, first of all, they didn't know that we even had anything to offer for point clouds, and when they found out, they were like, gee, talk to me about that. So I've shown that quite a bit, and I think we got some cool stuff there to show. And then I got this idea, you know, how do we kind of tie that in? Where do you go from there? And then I thought, well, let's tie it over to civil and do a road design. I'm not going to get into any, you know, super depth on a road. The seminar is not to show, you know, road design, and there's tons of those up there, and they keep changing, and the software keeps getting better. But you've kind of seen that, or there's other resources for that. But I will go through a road design. This is all live. I've nothing canned. I don't have, you know, movies that I pretend that I'm doing it live and narrate. I think that's kind of weak, actually. But anyway, so if things fall apart, they fall apart. Hopefully they won't. But this is real live ammo here. So we'll see how it goes. And then from there, I thought it'd be interesting to bring it over to this new Precision 3D Topo, which I think is an exciting new product as well. Basically for doing visualizations mostly. You can do editing in there. Tin editing is available, and some other things, analysis. And it's growing. Its capabilities will continue to grow, but largely right now it's really nice for visualizations, and so I thought we'd kind of wind up over there. So that's my idea. We are going to try and kind of do some questions as we go. We'll see how that goes. You know, if they get overwhelmed and get bogged down, we may have to kind of wait to the end. We'll see. But if you have a question, go ahead, type it in. Todd will look them over, and you know, I've given him, you know, don't hesitate to interrupt me, Todd, if a question comes up that you think is relevant and maybe has a quick answer. Or Todd, obviously, if you have an answer, jump right in. You know, I do stuff pretty informal. Folks that know me know that. So here we go. So let's get started. 12:05. So I'm going to start a new file. So the software is running. I am running on IntelliCAD. This is, of course, the 2016 version. 17 is coming along. It'll be out hopefully in about a month or so. But I wasn't brave enough to run beta for this. I probably could have, but I decided to go with the 16 that is out there now. So I'm running on IntelliCAD 8.1, I believe it is. It's really doing well. It's super stable. I do all my work there, and urge you to look at that. If you're not using it, definitely look at it or something. It's where it needs to be, I think, finally. So that's great. Okay, so use a template drawing, whatever. We'll take the standard template, that's fine. And we come into this first screen to set up, and I work with projects. You know, it's an option. You don't have to use it. Some people do, some people don't. I like it, partly because of my LAN desktop background, but I just like it. I think it's a good way to organize your data. I've got a project folder already started. I called it Workflow 1. I'm going to use that folder, so I don't need to make a project, but if I did, I would just say set, and I would make a project, a new project folder. And all it does is create a folder and create subfolders. And then the software is all programmed, which I can show you very quickly on so it knows where to put things. And it just really helps organize stuff. So we're going to work with this project. We'll say the new drawing. I've been practicing a little bit, so we're going to call this live. We'll call it live. Instead of Saturday Night Live, it's Monday noon live, Monday. Who picked Monday to do webinars, Todd? Was that you? Not. Well, wish me luck.
Yeah, I'll take the blame.
Yeah. Well, let's try and avoid Mondays. Okay, so
you want
live.
Sunday?
Yeah. Well, you know, Monday just has a weird thing going on, but we'll hope for the best.
Okay.
We're going to go with English units, Imperial. This will say Imperial someday before I retire, I promise. And we'll go with 100 scale. And there's our project. Then we'll make a new CRD, which picks up the drawing name. Notice it puts it in the points folder, in the data folder. You know, this is what the project stuff does, which I like. And we're into a new drawing. Now, just like I promised, I'll show you very, very quickly. You go to Settings, Set Project Data Folders, and this is Project, Drawing, or Fixed. Drawing puts the data with the drawing, which is a lot of people use. Is great, it's fine. Project Folder creates folders, which are your design. So you can design any set of folders and subfolders that you want. You design it any way you want, and then you tell us our data files, center lines and coordinate files and tins and so on. You tell us where to put those. What folder should those go in by default? You can always browse and put them other places, but it eliminates a lot of browsing. It helps organize your data. And out of the 117 file types, a typical civil survey, you probably only need about a dozen or so. A lot of these are for mining and other disciplines that if you're not involved in, you can just ignore all those. But anyway, that's what that is. I think it's a cool thing, but it's totally up to you. Some people don't like it, but I think it's useful. But your choice. Okay. Now, the first thing we're going to jump into. And, you know, all these programs, survey, civil, hydro, you know, well, let's just go through GIS, geotech, which came from takeoff, that's for borings, and construction, which is kind of civil survey combined, and trench for trench volumes, and CADNet for non-CAD to CAD, like PDF import, and field for collecting data directly into a drawing, and natural regrade for putting sites back to natural drainage, and point clouds. And then our mining stuff, basic and geology and underground and surface. These all are running on the same. They're all installed with the install, and your access is given by your serial number. So I can switch, if my serial number lets me, I can switch to any of these programs. So my point is, if you have survey or you have civil and you go, yeah, I need point clouds, we just give you a new serial number. You don't have to reinstall anything. You just get access to a new part of the program. So I switched to point clouds, and point clouds only has one menu. And it only has two items, which is the point cloud setup and the point cloud manager. So the point cloud setup says, do you want to use the Carlson point tools or 3D TK? This is the one you want to use. And you come in and say point cloud manager, and it opens up this screen. So we're going to shell out, as we used to call it. I don't know if it's still called that. Back in my day, we used to call it shelling out. I don't know why. I don't know what that means. It's some sort of a turtle reference, evidently, but anyway, we would shell out to another program. So we're not in CAD. What's important is we're not in CAD at this point. CAD is running, CAD is aware, it's kind of listening to what we're doing, but we're not in it. And the reason that's good is because we're going to deal with millions of points, and CAD says, you know, forget about it. CAD can't deal with millions of points, never could. So we're going to create a new a project, a point cloud project, and it's going to go in our workflow project. We're going to call this live. Again, I'm going to try and use this name live repeatedly here. And this is what we get, is this whole environment. So this is what's called the project tab, and there's all these things, the clouds and meshes and things. And then you have scenes and cameras and actions and data, and action is the other place that we'll go when we have something to do. So the first thing we're going to do is on the cloud item, we're going to right click and we're going to import a cloud. Now it's listed as LiDAR, which is fine, but it really it's not actually specifically LiDAR, to be honest with you. It's the most common format of point cloud data, which is LAS or LAZ, a LAS file or a LAS file. We list it as LiDAR. It maybe should say LAS, LAZ. But anyway, because this one actually is not coming from LiDAR, this is coming from a drone. So here it is. We're gonna go. Oh, actually, and we're gonna go back to it. It switched to another project that I had used. The point cloud software is not as kind of wired into the project as some of the other stuff. So it needs a little help. The file I was looking for was actually over there, but this is, I'm going to stick with the project workflow one. So in the data folder, I have a point cloud folder automatically created, and here's the LAZ file that I want. And again, you know, I could have recorded this and, you know, saved it cake out of the oven thing, but let's just go live. We're up to 12, 13, 14 seconds, and now it creates the cloud and it's done. So that was, you know, that's live. Now, if we look at the cloud and right click, I always like to do this and go to properties, it's 14 million points. Okay, so it read a 14 million point cloud in about 15 seconds. You know, that's pretty cool. I like that. You know, that's the kind of performance that we can work with. I talked to a guy the other day. He had a cloud has 4.5 million. What's the upper end? You know, I don't know. I don't know really. I think it's tens of millions, maybe hundreds. I've not seen sets that big that I've tried, but I'm sure it'll handle them. But 14 is pretty good, and you'll see it's a pretty big site. So what's the big deal about this? Is the big deal is that you can fly over a site and get the data you need in 20 minutes instead of days or weeks on the ground. That's really what we're talking about. I mean, drones are limited in the U.S. It's changing. You know, that'll change, and so on. But the idea is, I got this site. You know, and this is a quarry, so I can fly over it instead of sending a crew out there for like I said, weeks or days or weeks or whatever. I fly the drone around. It creates a whole bunch of photos, and then people use generally, you know, two softwares. One is called P3D, very, very common, comes with a lot of the drones, and the other one that I've heard a lot about is called Agisoft. I think the price points are about the same, but anyway, they take all these photos, they register them together. So that they're complete. They create an image of the whole thing, and they create a point cloud. That's the idea. So that all has to happen before you get to Carlson. But the thing is, when you do that, then it's like, okay, I got that. Now what? So we go here, we double click on quarry noise, and it says let's create a scene, and it gives it a name, which I'll just take the default, and it's either simple, position, intensity, or color. Color direct is kind of interesting. I'd say okay, and it generates this color direct. This is like the actual pixel colors picked up by the photographs of this site, which is a pretty huge site. I was going to measure it and I forgot this morning to get an acreage on it. I can try and do that quickly, but it's a pretty massive site, and you can see, you know, I'm messing around. Now this is a 3-year-old laptop with, I think it has 8 gig of RAM. I'd have to check, but there's nothing spectacular on hardware going on here. And I'm throwing around 14 million points. You know, just that's the whole beauty of this. So now, if I kind of minimize this and I double-click again on the cloud, and I say go to position, elevation is the only choice, and I say okay, then I'm going to get a elevation ranged color view. Which looks different, you know. It gives me a different view of this thing, and I can see, you know, there's this big low area down here that's all, you know, quarried out, and you know, there's some high spots up here and stuff. So the color kind of helps as well. You know, it depends which, you know, you can use either one. These are just visualizations of the data. It's the same data. It's just looking at it a couple different ways. Okay, but and then there's a bunch of stuff I can do in here. If I switch over to the Action tab, And one of the main things you can do is create polylines. Okay, so one of our clients uses this, and then they create their polylines. They go in and they snap polylines to points in the cloud and create break lines, and they make their surface from the break lines, well, basically that's what they do. They don't use the points to make the surface because, you know, you get contours that have a million little jigs in them because there's so many points, right? So this guy likes to basically kind of do a ground survey, but instead of being out in the field, he's in his office. He calls it surveying in the cloud, which is pretty interesting. So you can create points, you can create polylines, and so on. One thing you can do with a polyline, like if I wanted a volume on this pile, I could put a polyline around the bottom of it and cut out this pile as a new cloud, cloud, basically, with just that pile, and then I could get a volume of that pile, which is an interesting exercise, which would be a different workflow from the one I'm doing today, but you can do that with these polylines. So what we're going to do today is we're going to say create a polyline, and it's kind of hard to see. Dual screens are really helpful here, and if you don't have a dual screen, just grab one, and it's $150 now for a really nice 22-inch screen or something. Just get one. Because it does help, because this would be on one screen and this would be on another, and it makes it a little easier. But I'm going to say make a new polyline, and I come over here. It says hold your control key down, and I'm gonna start up here. And the idea is I'm going to say I need to put a road. You know, we could come up with some kind of a story, but you know, let's just go. We're going to put a road right through here. Okay, so I'm snapping to points in the cloud, and I'm saying this is where I need to put a road. You know, so I can access this site. I can come in here. I need to drive around in the site. So you know, realistically, you know, maybe, you know what I mean? It's like this may be a real scenario that I need to build a road through there or some sort of an access road. But you know, it's reasonably realistic, I guess. So let's say end, and now I've basically created a polyline, and there's a draw to CAD right here. I hope you can see that, draw to CAD. I can also do this. If I come back over to my projects, you'll see it's listed here now, polylines, and there's polyline 1, and I can right click and I can say draw. You can do it in either place, okay? And I draw that, and it says it's drawn to CAD. So this is where the CAD is in the background listening, and I just drew over there, okay? So again, this is, you know, we could do all afternoon. That would be fun. All kinds of things we could do. But this is just kind of one workflow I thought would be interesting. So for time's sake, since it's 12:18, because I tend to yammer, let's proceed. So we're going to save this project. And now what we need to do, like I said, we have our cloud. And like I told you, it's 14 million points. Well, the beauty of this whole thing is I can fly a drone in 20 minutes and get this data, which is unbelievable. But you know, the downside is I got 14 million points. You know, if I send a crew out there, they're not going to come back with 14 million points. If they did, they would be very old, and I would be retired, and it would be too late. So, so the deal is, the beauty is I got the data very quickly, but I don't need 14 million points. So I come in here and I go resample. And I have a sample rate, you know, 20 to 1 or 30 to 1 or 40 to 1. I'll go 40 to 1. Okay, so basically give me one out of 40 points is what I need. And it goes through and it rips through and it goes, okay, here's a resampled cloud. So let's look at the properties on this one. Well, of course, if you do 40 to 1 out of 14 million, you get 350,000. It's just math. And you know, now we're, you know, that's still 350,000 points. You know, is a crew going to go out and do 350,000 points? I don't think so. So have I lost any significant data? I don't think so. I think I got enough data. And if I needed more data in a certain area, I could use, you know, part of the cloud with the original density or whatever. But this is, you know, this is getting somewhere close to where I can actually, you know, kind of use it back in the CAD world. So I right click now and I say create a mesh. So I need to create a mesh. With a mesh, which is, we're going to call it mesh 1. We're going to take the name, take the defaults, and it's basically a tin in the point cloud software. Okay, so then it lists it. It says, okay, I wrote the face. Here's the mesh. If I double click on this mesh, I'll show you very quickly. We'll go position elevation again. And here's the mesh. Now we bring it up, and there it is. And what's interesting, hopefully, is if I turn it and zoom in a little and kind of let it sit for a second, and this takes a second to pause, you'll see that, you see when I zoom in, you see the points, but then it meshes. See, it's a mesh. Those are like faces there because it's a mesh now. Now this is the 1/40th of the data. Okay, 1/40th of the data, but I still got, I still got an awful, I'm still in pretty good shape, I think. So we'll close that guy. And then what we do is we right-click on the mesh and we export a tin. We export a tin, and it says, what do you want to call this thing? And we'll call it live site. Okay, .tin, obviously this is a Carlson tin, and we save it. Hopefully I put it in the right place, and we're good to go. Okay, so now I'm basically done here. So I'm going to save and exit, and that was just kind of like, that was my point cloud part, okay? There's tons of other cool stuff we could do. Zoom extents and save, and there's my polyline, remember, that I drew in the point cloud, and I said send to CAD, and there it is. So the surface is there. I could contour it and show you all that, but I'm just going to actually blast through here. 1221.
Is that polyline a 3D polyline or just 2D polyline?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Inquiry, drawing inspector, 39.4. It's 3D. It is 3D, and that's because the point. Good question. They were snapped. So I can use it as a centerline 2D or 3D. I switched over to civil here. I clicked on civil, so I just load up my civil menus, and I go to road network, right? And I'm going to make a new road network, and this is going to be called live. And we're going to basically add a road, right? And it says you don't have a surface, and I go, well, use live site as my target surface. And I'm going to screen pick a polyline, and I'm going to pick the polyline, and I'm going to give it a name, and we're going to call this thing a live road, live road, we could say. And the profile will have the same name, and it's going to come in, and the center line. So here's the editor, and we go to the first line segment, and we fit a curve, and we're going to put in 80-foot radius, which is pretty small, but we're going to go with it. We'll make a bigger one here. Let's go with 120-foot radius here. And then we'll go here and fit a curve. We'll go a little bigger, 150-foot radius here. Ooh, that one was almost too big, so we're going to have to make this one pretty short. Fit curve, let's go 50. Okay, so again, don't judge my design skills here right now. I'm just trying to throw something in there. That's one way I add the curves in the editor. Is what I usually do when I demo this stuff, but you could do it lots of, I could have filleted the polyline before I got here, and so on and so forth, but that's the way I did it. Now the design profile is the interesting thing. Now what it's doing is it's sampling that surface, and that surface, still started with 350,000, which is still a big tin, but it paused for a second, but it's like, okay, there's your surface, and you can see it. So I'm going to add a PVI. We'll knock in a PVI here with like a 200-foot vertical curve length, and then we'll throw in another PVI. Let's drop it down here, and we'll throw in, let's just do another 200-foot vertical curve down there. And we can drag these around in the whole road design thing, which is amazingly awesome, but, well, let me just do one because I can't resist. So we just grab this thing and we push it over here. Just the easiest, simplest, most powerful road design out there. I don't care what anybody says. It totally rocks, and anybody not using it is missing something cool. So we say, okay, save and exit, and we got our profile done. Now for the template, oh, what time is it? 12:24. Okay, we're going to use this demo template. I was going to build one, but I've been talking too much. So we're going to use this demo template, and we say, okay. And it says, do you want to process the network? And I go, yeah, process the road network. And I go, yeah, and it goes through and builds the road. And it wants to write out a tin file, which I'll show you where that is. So this is going to be called live road. Live road is the tin of the road, okay? And it's done. So here's our report, by the way, output. Here's our cut and fill. Wow, I almost balanced it, Todd. Geez, I am pretty good. I am a thought leader, actually. Yeah. I guess you're right. but here's the settings that I skipped that I probably should go back to. So for the, I wanted to write triangulating contour, make a surface of the road. I didn't give it a name. That's why I'd asked for a name. So we're going to use live road, and it's going to say you're going to overwrite it, and I'll replace it. Go yeah, and then oh, that's that, and then this one is merge the road with the existing. I'm going to, and it said none, so I'm going to say live final for this surface, okay, which is the road fused in. Of course, I could output surf CE if I want to go stake out the road. There's all kinds of cool stuff there too, but let's just reprocess this road. So this time we're going to process the road, and it's going to do its thing, and we have all the volumes and all the thing. And it's going to then take the road, it's going to take the limit of the slope work, the extents of the slope work, and cut a hole, this weird shaped hole, in the existing ground surface, and it's going to drop the road in that hole, basically, and replace the existing ground with the proposed road. And that's what it's doing right now. And it's thinking about that, and that's mostly, again, because I have 350,000 points in that the existing ground was made from. It's a pretty big tin, but it's working. It works fine. So it's done. That wasn't too bad. And if I show you, let's do this 3D viewer drawing, and I grab the road and to our tin viewer, also known as cube, you can see what it did. There's our road design, and what it does is it takes the different parts of the road template, pavement and the shoulder, and then the slope work, and it automatically assigns different colors, which is kind of cool. So I automatically get some visualization there. And let's save this, and let's save our drawing, because so far so good. 1227. Okay, so I could also do, let's say we're done with the road design for now, and let's take a look at the whole thing. So we'll say view a surface file of live final, and this is in CAD. Now this is in the Office CAD software, civil or survey or whatever. This is our tin viewer, and it is trying to load this 350,000 point, however many faces that is. I have to check the statistics, but it's trying to load that into our viewer. So this will take a few seconds, but again, we're going live. We're not cooking anything and taking it out of the oven. Finished. We are hopeful, though. This is pushing it a little bit, but it should be fine. We just got to give it a second, because it's kind of cool to look at once it gets over there. So how about those Red Sox?
They're doing well.
They are doing well. They're in first place last time I looked, right? Still?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
Hey,
okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
There it is.
We had a question.
So, okay. So this is pretty spectacular. I mean, this is a huge site. You know, this is, like I said, 350,000 points that this was created from, and this is our tin viewer. So I'm just kind of zooming in and showing you in our tin viewer in CAD, and this is contoured too, by the way, because contours were on, or no, that's in here somewhere. Where is that? Oh, display contours, see that? And that's why, that also slowed it down too. So if I take that off, of course now it's got to I shouldn't have done that, because now it's got to regenerate. But anyway, this is our tin viewer, and it's hauling around a pretty massive tin here. And what's kind of cool is it'll kind of have an image, and then it'll kind of rethink, and it'll there it is, and then it'll kind of resolve the resolution to the next level, which is pretty cool, pretty sweet. And there's our road and so on. Okay, so so there, we'll exit here. Again, lots of other things we could do, but that's okay. And then we save, just to be sure, and then we fire up the now awesome LandXML. No, not LandXML, Carlson Precision 3D. This is the free one. I'll show you that in just a second. This is the paid one. This is $9.95, $1,000 US. This is our new platform. We have culvert design in here with hydrology, and now we have Topo, and now we have drill and explode. What is that? Drill and blast. all in this non-CAD 3D gaming kind of cool environment. So we load up a Carlson tin is one of the things that we can load. We can load other things, but this is live final, and we say go. Now here it is, loading surface command running, load surface command running. So now we're in P3D and we're trying to load this massive tin. I can go check and see how big this thing is as far as file size. I'd be kind of curious actually. So P3D is kind of like, I gotta think about this for a second, but there it is, okay? And now we're in P3D. Now I'm rolling the wheel, and I'm getting like real time. I mean, there's no delay. This thing is just rocking. Now that it's loaded, you know, it took a second to load, and I'll just show you. Let's just find out real quick, see if I can get this. See, Carlson Projects, workflow 1, data, surfaces, live final. Live final is it's a 20 megabyte, right? Yeah, 20 megs. Yeah, 20 megabyte. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's pretty huge, 20 megabyte tin. You know, that's not insignificant. And there it is, and I'm just whipping this thing around. And now the cool thing is it has recognized and what's the word? You know, honored the division. Created by the road software, which said this is different than this is different than this. So if I come in here to textures and I go paving and I go, you know, I don't know, like let's just get a gray thing and I drag and drop, then I can, you know, color. Oop, what's happening? There it goes. I can color the road with different texture. I can apply different textures to different things in here. There it goes. No, I shouldn't have metal. Do we have gold? Oh man. Let's see if Nathan put gold in here. Sorry, you got to bear with me today. Come on, where's our metal? Oh, there they are. Oh, I don't think he has gold. It's too bad. We could do yellow brick. Wonder if he has yellow brick. Okay. All right. Sorry. So anyway, we can drag and drop textures. We can do that for any of these, and you know, there's all kinds of other cool stuff. I can take areas, you know, this whole thing. I could put a polyline and give it different textures. What else could we do? I could take objects. I can take objects like vehicles, and we could put a nice dump truck on the road here, and it's a little big, and the reason is I was kind of lied to you. This is actually a metric road, so it's only 6 units across, which would be no, that's not right. It's 8 units across, which is 24 foot. But the truck is imperial, so it's 3 times too big. But I can fix that. I can just grab this guy and shrink it down to 1/3 roughly, and then I can rotate this. Oop, wrong handle. There we go. Bring this truck around and then hit escape, and you know, there's my dump truck going in to get a load of stuff, and you know, I can put all kinds of, you know, trees and oil tanks and furniture, and you can put your own objects. Obviously, you can get stuff from lots of sources. What's the one? SketchUp. You can get your own stuff in here and whatever. But you can basically, you know, put trees and you know, decorate the thing, basically, I guess is the word. I don't know if that's an official term I'm supposed to use, but that's basically kind of what you're doing. You put some trees in here, you know, and make yourself a nice visualization to present to a client. So at 1234, 1234, we have started with this point cloud, 14 million points from a drone, LAS file. We went in there, we looked at it, we messed around, we put a center line of a road that we needed to add to the site. Then we made a surface of the whole site by dropping it 40:1 and making a tin ultimately. We used the tin over there, we did a road design, and then we basically said, well, let's take it over to P3D. The thing I will show you, and then I'll stop talking, is this is landxml.org, landxml. I hope most of you are familiar with landxml. What you may not know is Carlson now owns essentially the site and the phenomenon, I guess. The gentleman who basically created it, Nathan Cruz, works for us now. kind of a legend in the industry, and he's with us, and he's writing P3D with his team, and he's also working on LandXML again with us, version 2. So on this website, you can read all about LandXML and how awesome it is and how it's getting better, but you can also get this free viewer. Version LandXML viewer. So the P3D, Precision 3D, this is the full version where I can edit tins and stuff. So if I say I want to edit a tin, you know, and I pick on an area, it'll light up the tin, and I can do tin editing and you know, add break lines and swap faces and all that kind of stuff. So all of those features are in the full $1,000 version. But in the free version, you can load a tin or load an XML file and visualize it and mess around with it. I think you can add objects to it and stuff like that, and you can get that for free. So in Point Clouds, you can get a free demo, and at 12:36, I think, let me just come back here. I think what was happening here. Oh, I seem to have potentially blown its mind, but it got this far nicely without any hiccups really at all, which I'm very pleased. A little nervous, but it went well.
You want to take a few questions, Gary?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's work on a few questions.
Okay. All right. So we got 2 questions came in here. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in, and we'll try to get them answered. One, I know you didn't want to do a full demo of the RoadNet, but one question was on, you know, roads aren't a standard width that you can easily just throw one template on. So I don't know how far you want to get into it or can, but just talk to how you could use like a template series, or like say you had a gutter line or curb line that was doing something different than the main center line, how you would handle that.
Sure, you know, of course, you know, this was, you know, please understand this, as you saw, this whole thing was winging a very simplistic, you know, presentation here. So in the real world, you know, of course, things are going to get much more complicated, and that's fine. And the beauty is that the software is well designed. We have people doing road design at all different levels. So yes, you know, transitions and widenings and multiple templates, and you know, the software is the civil software, the road design, or RoadNet as we call it, is fully equipped to handle a wide variety of templates and multiple templates and transitions and so on. So don't let that scare you. Mine was extraordinarily straightforward, and that was wise because I just wanted to bang a road in here. But it gets, and there's lots of webinars and movies up there, but certainly if you're interested and you have, you know, road design challenges that you want us to, you know, get in touch with your regional sales director or your local dealer or both, and you know, and work with us. You know, we can look at your data sets. We can, you know, we can solve anything that you have for road design. And if you stump us, if you've got a road design we can't solve, then we'll get it to the programmers, and we'll get it, because Dave loves to add stuff. So that's my answer to that one. Okay, great.
And then I think I'm guilty of bringing up this question on that 3D polyline that we brought in, that you took out of Point Cloud. The 3D elevations were just from the Point Cloud points that it snapped to. It's not, didn't automatically drape a line. It was just the points that were clicked to. But you could drape, if you could drape that line from the mesh that you created.
Yes, you certainly. Yes. Well, once you have a tin, you certainly can drape it, and I believe in Point Clouds, I think we can probably drape it. To be honest with you, I've not done that. I'd have to dig in there and see. I think we could. But we certainly know that we could drape it onto the tin if you wanted a line, the polyline, 3D polyline that was laying on the surface and picking up all of the triangles, and it was, you know, from end to end was laying on the surface. It certainly could be draped on the surface. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. And then just that line that you exported was on layer 0. Can you specify what layers to put line work to when you're exporting to CAD?
Oh, wow. That's a good, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a good question. there's no options when you do that. There's no options, at least the way I did it. Let's just see real quick. When do we have to shut down? Oh, 5 minutes. Okay, let me just do this really quick. I mean, I can go later, but I know people are, I think it's scheduled till 45. Let me just look real quick, see if I go back in Point Clouds and I reopen that project, which was called Live. See, when I go here on this polyline and right-click, I just said draw, and all it does is it says drawn, you know. So if there's options,
under layers you have 0. Under layers you have 1 layer 0. I don't know. If you have
here.
different layers there.
I draw. I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm being honest. I don't know. I've not used this layer stuff. I don't really know what it's for. I'll be honest with you. Sorry.
Okay.
Everyone.
All right.
Whoever's listening. See, I told you people are listening.
I'm getting Paul Nixon, who's the developer, says it's whatever the current layer is. So
the current layer in the
point
drawing.
clouds. Yeah. So I'll write out to whatever the current layer is. So
right. And what does this layer thing?
Feature.
What does this layer thing do? Well, we probably don't have time. I'm curious what this is for because I've never used it, but that's okay. There's other stuff. Planes. I guess you can draw planes in here or something. I wonder if they have like little planes and big, but I don't know. Okay, what else you got for questions?
That's it.
That was it for questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. I guess.
You did a good job.
That's good.
I learned a lot, Gary, as always, working with you. So
well,
thanks. Thank you, everyone, for your time today, and thanks, Gary, for putting this on. And this recording will be on our website and on our YouTube channel. And please stop by to the next one. And have a great day, everyone.
Great. Thanks for your help, Todd, and thanks everybody for taking the time. Follow up. My email is grosen@carlsonsw.com. GROSEN. If you want to get in touch, please do. Todd is Carlson@carlsonsw.com. Any questions? Follow up, and thanks for taking the time. And have a great week.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks. Yep. Bye.